Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Frozen Fortunes. Now, we've got a fair amount of stuff to discuss from the summer transfer window, as well as our first game of the season, which just so happens to be our home game against V-Borg, so we get to start with a nice, easy one for once. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Alan Franson is no longer a B67 player. I was gutted about this for multiple different reasons, which we're going to go into now. The first thing is that Alan Franson is our record appearance maker and our record goal scorer, which really doesn't help. He won player of the season. He was the top goal scorer in our division last season as well. A real talented player that I felt like if we could hold on to him, we might have a chance to build something going forward. But the contract negotiations just weren't happening. However, with about a week left on his contract, we got a news article about him and the idea of him maybe leaving. But then I talked to Casper Nielsen about wanting to say, I don't know why it asked me to get him. I also managed to talk to Mikael Nygaard, because before you do it, you can ask someone else to do it as well, and he's our other team leader. But he didn't agree to them. But then when I spoke to him, I basically said to him, you're not going to be playing for whoever you move to, so it's best if you just stay here. And he agreed. He had no negatives on his happiness. He had loads of positives. He was happy to stay. He had perfect morale and everything. So I thought, perfect. Let's offer him a new contract. Still rejected it. So what is the actual point of those negotiations there if the moment that the player's happy to stay at the club, they say they're happy to stay at the club, but you offer them a new contract and then they aren't interested in actually staying at the fucking club? Anyway, that's annoying, because then when he did eventually leave, he didn't even sign for Lyngby for like 3-4 weeks. He was just a free agent. Like, he didn't even sign for a new club yet. And eventually he got picked up by Lyngby. He's not going to play for them. He's playing in their not their under 18 team, their sort of second squad. So he's not going to get a game. I approached Lyngby and I said, right, we'll have him back on loan for 2 years. They wanted a fair amount of money. They wanted us to pay, because he's on like £900 a week. So I can see why he wanted to maybe go somewhere else. But I could have given him that. I would have given him that if the board would have let me. But the problem came from the fact that Lyngby wanted all this money, and my board would only let me offer £600 a week, but I managed to get some extras in there, and they did agree to the deal on a 2-year loan deal. But then, of course, because he's a Danish player, he wouldn't sign for us, not even on loan. So he's now going to rot in the reserves in Lyngby, because, why would you want to sign for a club on loan for 2 years where you'll get plenty of football and you'll still be 22 when you come back? But then why are we trying to apply logic to Football Manager? That's just not a thing you can do. So that's my little rant over about Alan Franson for now. Thankfully, there is better news in other areas, and that is that Neil Hutchinson is now on a full, proper contract with us. £375 a week. I know it's a lot, but there's something about this guy that I just adore, and from looking at our analysis, we really did see that he was contributing a hell of a lot in games that he played in. So if we could get a full season out of this guy, maybe he can start to develop even more. He's got the 5-star potential, so you never know. With some game time under his belt, he could... look at 14 finishing is bloody excellent. It's one of the highest in our entire team. I think it's even higher than Franson. He's not exactly a slow coach either. I think there could be a lot. This could be a big, big year for Neil Hutchinson. Sorry, Neil goddamn Hutchinson. We need to get that on a t-shirt. The other big move we've made is Fabien Touvenon is now on a brand new contract. He's a key player, of course. He's on a little bit more money, but he has now got 2 years on his deal. So it'll be much, much harder for the bigger sides to come in and poach him from us. And if they do, they're going to have to pay through the nose to get him. So we've at least managed to tie him down for a little bit longer. His heading is improving, and that's good because he's got the jumping reach, he's got the height. He just needs to get a little bit better at actually heading the ball. His marking and tackling are excellent. So Touvenon is going to be an absolute stalwart for us this year. It really does suck about the whole Franson thing, though, because it's things like that that really do kill the enjoyment of these types of saves for me. When you get a situation like that, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's so frustrating, because they go and join another club, and then don't play. I guarantee you he won't make a single appearance for Lyngby this year. He'll end up getting shipped out on loan to another team in our bloody division. Let's put it that way. That's what's more likely to happen. I think the only chance we've got of turning professional, and I think that's the only way we're going to sign Danish players, is to get promoted. I think if we get promoted out of this division, the board will automatically turn us pro, because I looked and there's no teams in the top tier that are professional, and the 3 teams that have been relegated from the top tier, a lot of which came up in previous years, are also professional now. Teams like Roskilde are back, and Frem, and also, oh look, it's Hobro. Aren't you glad you didn't go there, Alan? Otherwise you'd be playing in the same goddamn division as us. Because like someone said in the comments, no one in real life wants to go to Hobro, and I don't particularly want to go there either right now. And this has all been made somewhat worse by the fact that we haven't really been able to bring in that many players over the summer. Certainly none, like in the previous years, we'd have a couple of players that would come in that would either be bench warmers with lots of potential, or some of them that could slot straight in. Your Touvenons, your Ben Yahias, those types of players. But over the summer, I think we've only had 1, maybe 2 that are good enough, and one of them we can't get a work permit for at the moment, because even though we just brought him in, and he's on an amateur deal, I can't offer him a contract to get him a work permit because for some reason he doesn't want to because he's only just negotiated one. I understand that, but I've never had that happen before when they're on an amateur deal. Strange. So hopefully we can sort that out and maybe get him in the team because he's a striker and that is an area we are definitely needing. Other area, well, I'll show you in a sec. I thought I'd show you straight on the team selection screen because we're going to be spending a fair bit of time here just now. So one of them, this is the guy. This is Herman Martinez. Decent enough target, man. He's only 5'10", which is a worry for me. But he can play in these other positions too. What's his? He's got, look at that, 13 passing. I wonder. See, this guy, I think, could have a lot to offer us. He's got decent physicals, particularly that natural fitness, which is nice. Vision isn't bad either. He's got decent flair as well. Finishing is 10 first touch. He's got decent free kicks. I think he's the type of player that we could really do with getting in our team, even if we have to go over our wage budget a tiny little bit to bring him in, because we very much need players like this up in the top end, because we are very, very light on strikers at the moment. We might have to start with St. Brendan this year, because poor Holmgaard, who's a guy I'd like to play, can't play for us until the start of September, and I think he will get some games then. But this is a guy that I really do need to get. Let's try again, actually. Offer a new contract. I've only recently signed a new deal. I can't play you, you buffoon, but there you go. Never had that happen before. Usually they're quite happy to do that if it means I put them on a real contract. But hey, the only other player that's come in that's like potentially going to be good for us starting from now is this guy, Carmelo Perez. He's Spanish. A Spaniard in the team is nice. He's got some all right stats. I mean, this is where we want to play him. He's he's not fairly comfortable there, but he's comfortable enough. Crossing's okay, dribbling on the low side, marking, passing, tackling, fine. Decisions is very, very, very high. 18 natural fitness as well. Weirdly, stamina quite low. I don't know. I feel like he's another option there with Gravgor, who I think is going to be starting there more and more, because Stefan Jon Gunnarsson has not exactly impressed me at the moment. We will need to mess around with this, although I have given him some stuff to do, so that should disperse fairly soon. If he starts to find some game time for us, we'll get him on a proper contract, but I wasn't going to shell out £120 a week just on a whim, basically. Right, so before we get into anything, I want to briefly go over a few of the key points that we discussed in the analysis video on Friday, because I'm actually recording this before it goes out, but some of the stuff that we talked about that I think we found quite useful and should help us going forward is that Neil Hutchinson, very, very huge contributions to the team, and so he will be starting as many games as I can physically get him into. The next thing is that Søren Diermosa made so much more contributions than I ever thought he did last year, which means that despite him being probably, I don't know, the 4th or 5th best player in that position, so Ponzio's better, Julien Thorstensen as well, I'm going to start Søren Diermosa because I genuinely think he could be the key for us. The amount of key passes that guy got last year and the amount of assists, he got more assists than any other midfielder that we have, despite playing like 3 or 4 times less minutes than they did. So I want to see how he does, because I think that flair makes a hell of a difference. Now he's wanted by teams, which is a bit wanted by Colding. That's fine. They only want him on loan. I offered him out on loan a little while ago when he wasn't playing. Now he does want to go out on loan, but I think he'll change his mind if he starts getting first-team football. Then we can tie him down to a new deal, because I genuinely think that this year he's going to have a cracker of a season. That's my prediction of the standout player for this year. It's going to be Søren Diermosa. Bit of a risk on that one, I must admit, though. In the middle, generally speaking, it's going to be Thorstensen or Julien, as you would expect. At the back, though, we're going to drop out Cisse a bit more and start playing Carriço, because Cisse's just falling off the pace a little bit of things, and Carriço's just a generally better player than Cisse. So we'll use Kasper Nielsen in that. Nielsen still won't sign a new contract either, so we can unfortunately expect to lose him in the winter transfer window as well, but we at least get him until then, so that's something. As for other positions, Gravgor, I'm actually going to start using him on this right-hand side instead of Gunnarsson, or at least alternating players around a little bit in those positions, just to freshen things up, because again, he had some good contributions to us. Betzer, despite some poor performances, when we're attacking and playing well, he has a great cross completion, whereas Gunnarsson's was like 10% compared to Betzer's like 21%. That is a huge disparity. So what we're going to do for today, since we can't do any of these things, Holmgaard will be able to play soon. Hopefully Martinez will be able to play as well. Look at this. We have literally 3 players in our first team squad. Obviously, we can open things up a little bit more, but that just shows you kind of the lengths that we're going to have to go to scrape for players right now. I hate to have to do this. And yeah, maybe I've been a bit harsh on Brendan O'Neill, St. Brendan, for the time being, but it's part of the joke. But maybe he can redeem himself. I don't know. We might just have to give him a chance no matter what. In the middle, though, see, Hutchinson, Stephen Gardiner, maybe? Imagine having an entirely Irish front line. Since it is an advanced forward role, maybe we should try out Stephen Gardiner up there. I mean, this is what I mean. Suddenly our forward line is looking way, way worse than it has been in many, many years. But I don't know. I just felt so powerless over the summer with people like Franson leaving and not being able to sign anyone decent. We do still have the Icelandic intake to come, so that could be potential chance for us to get some fruit in. But we didn't really sign any amazing Irish lads this time either. That seems to be drying up quite considerably. I have turned the French leagues on. Now, we are training defending set pieces, and I'm probably going to leave it on that for the entire season because I genuinely feel we conceded 18 goals from set pieces last season. And we actually conceded more goals last year than the season before and scored less. So that's something we definitely need to work on. But if we could just shut up shop from a defending set pieces standpoint, we would probably have a much better chance at a much better finish this year. And I'm really hoping that someone like Diamosa could fire us forward. He just needs to get those balls into those channels. And we haven't had an attacking playmaker really that's done that in the way that he does. Our attacking playmakers don't seem to get a lot of key passes, nor do they seem to be getting a lot of assists. But Diamosa did when he played for us before, and in his brief spell in the team last year, he got them as well. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on the guy, but I think he could be the key for us this year. I really do. I've also got some new set-piece tactics that I've been working on. Thanks to someone in the comments for pointing this out. A couple of little things to do with... I've changed some of my defending free kick ones as well to put an extra man out of the wall and into the actual melee, because we concede so rarely from direct free kicks. It seems a bit pointless putting 3 players in the wall when we could have 2 there and have an extra guy to man mark someone in the box. And for corners, we've taken them off the post and they're zonally marking the 6-yard area, the fullbacks that is. And yeah, hopefully that should make a little bit of a difference with an extra player in there. We've also got someone closing down the short corners for them as well. So yeah, I hope that's what's going to happen. And hopefully this year we won't concede so many from corners. Touch wood. And in before we concede 4 in this game to V-Borg and I go and drown myself in the bath. So looking at the opposition report for today's game, V-Borg play a kind of system that we've not really come across too much in these leagues, with 2 quite withdrawn wingers and then a target man and a poacher up top. So they'll probably be aiming long passes into Beck, which I guess means we should probably man mark him if we get the chance. As for, he's an inverted winger, which means he's going to be looking to come inside. So really it's Vestergaard that we want to be worrying about for getting crosses in, whereas, because what he's going to be doing is getting down here, putting crosses in that they'll overload this back post area with the target man and the inverted winger. He's playing like a Ryan Sessegnon kind of role. We are also playing an entire team full of regens for one of the first times in this save, so that's quite pleasant. Match fitness levels, some of them are okay, some of them aren't. Because we were so unsure of who we were going to be starting with, it was kind of difficult to pick who was going to actually be in the team to put in and get them all the match fitness up. Tackling, show on to weaker foot for these 2, yep. Oh, no. You, and you. As for this guy here, weakest attribute is his agility, so I'll probably just type mark him because he's not going to turn away from us anytime soon. We'll show him onto his weaker foot as well. And as for this guy here, his weakest attribute is his bravery. His first touch is decent, so I might not type mark him because he might be able to turn away, but we will try and show him onto his weaker foot. That's just my thoughts for now. So, question of the day, and today's question is this. Actually, there's one more change I wanted to make. I thought about this. I turned our goalkeeper off of specifically passing to someone, but I think that's causing him to just lob it into the midfield too much and just losing possession. I'd rather him give it to our centre-backs so that at least then we can maybe pick a slightly better pass or at least just slip it into the midfield rather than just going long all the time. That's just something I want to do. So, question of the day is this. Worst player you've ever had on an FM save? Now, it would be really easy for me to say Brendan O'Neill. It really would. Oh, we're still on the bloody thing here. But I don't know. Actually, I'm going to open this up to you. What is the worst player you think I've ever had on one of my FM YouTube saves? Do let me know in the comments. I'll be very interested to hear. But I'm also interested to hear your worst players from your FM saves. Betzer, oh, Beck's already through. What a save from Garcia. Terrible play there from us. Betzer makes a mistake almost immediately into this. But yeah, if you have any ideas for a question of the day, drop those in the comments. And with the hashtag QOTD, ball in. Oh, we got a free kick. I thought Nielsen was about to concede a penalty. I just want to get through one game without conceding a set-piece goal. That's the plan for today. If we can get through this game against V-Borg without defeat, I would see that as a positive sign because they're a good team. And, you know, they came very close to going up last year. They came 4th in the end, I think. So Carrizo. Back to Garcia, looking long to nobody. Maybe this isn't the best way to get the ball out. Beck. That's better. He's getting surrounded by people way too early, and he's not able to do much other than shoot from range. For now. God, look at this. Ball in, headed down. Oh, it's just not possible, is it, to avoid conceding from goddamn set pieces. We've made the changes that I was suggested. We've been training defending set pieces all this time, and yet somehow they're still able to score from them. It is just unbelievable. Right, time to go a bit more attack-minded here, go a bit more direct. I give up with them. It's such... What are you supposed to do? It's just depressing, isn't it? Look at this. Not a single shot in the entire first half. It's just... Yep, okay. The problem is, without a player like Alan Franson up top, we've got nobody to aim for. It's so disappointing to lose him. It's going to be the death of our season before it's even goddamn started. Julian is playing appallingly. I might actually switch him into a central midfielder, put him in his more comfortable role. Put it back on a mixed crosses a bit. Honestly, not sure what to do at this point, really. Because we've not done anything that I can analyse, so to speak. The dominating the ball in these areas, we're getting it sometimes in the middle. The only thing I can think of is I'm going to turn the keeper off of distributing to the centre-backs, because maybe we're just losing the ball too easily doing that. Maybe they just close us down. I honestly have no idea at this point. I mean, let's face it, we don't deserve anything from the game so far, but it's the fact that the goal they have scored has come from a bloody set piece yet again. Thiessen. That's a weird name. I can't really say that one. Ball it anyway. I give up. Like, what the hell? It's such a simple goddamn thing to do. What a start to the year. Thiessen into the channel. Nobody around him. Just whips it into nowhere. And Garcia, what are you doing? Oh, good. I'm glad you did a star jump, mate. What was that? I can't believe I mean, I can. We've not played well. Amazingly, goalkeeper best player for us, apparently. I beg to differ. We're going to have to make some changes soon, because this is not working. None of our strikers are performing particularly well. Pierre-Yves Julien, for whatever reason, is having an absolute mare. Maybe it's because we are closing down their strikers. Maybe we should just be closing down the wingers. Might just give our centre-backs and defenders a little bit less to worry about. I don't know. Mulgaard. Out to nobody, because Vestergaard. Betser's just getting skinned at every possible attempt. Keeper's out. My God, he's actually caught a football. Are we ever going to... Look at this. Even when we mark them up, they're just better than us. This is crazy. I don't think I was expecting us to be as bad as this in this game. Honestly, I didn't. I'm shocked. Ball in. Beck outjumps two of our centre-backs and just gets the goal. He's the target man, but let's get Askari Nyberg on there too. Let's get Brendan O'Neill off for Jakob Müller, and let's get Thorstenson on for Julian. I know Einstein suddenly... Not Einstein. Diamosa suddenly started playing dreadfully as well. I mean, it's one of those things where you can put as much attention on people as you want, but sometimes they're just going to be better than you. I just figured that we'd at least be slightly less inept than this. This is truly next level ineptitude. Yeah, I have no idea what to even try here other than just go route one and just, you know, it's my go-to thing when there's just nothing else I can think of doing. Push up a little bit maybe? I don't know. Go the offside trap too. Close down a little bit more. Why the hell not? Let's prevent short goalkeeper distribution as well. Maybe stop them from playing out of the back. Not that they probably were anyway. Betzer. Muller. Diamosa. Into the... Oh, he's offside. Wow, we actually had the ball in their penalty area. Very briefly. He's an aerial threat. I know he's an aerial threat, but ain't much you can do about an aerial threat when... And in before we concede 4 in this game to V-Borg, and I go and drown myself in the bath. They're just letting in everything. They've let in everything today. We have been appalling. This is the worst performance I've seen from this team in this entire save. Who'd have them? That's 2 we've conceded in the first game of the season, so off to an absolute flyer. Diamosa. For nobody. Even he... I mean, I don't know what his contribution's been like today. Probably not great, let's face it. Spins it out wide for Vestergaard. Watch him just skin Betzer. Oh, good! Now Betzer's going to get sent off as well. I can only laugh at this point because it's not like we're not unlucky. They've played brilliantly. There's nothing luck about this. We've just been abject. Absolutely abject. What do we even do here? I might just turn it off of overload because... What is the actual point? There's no point in being on overload. Who are we overloading? We're certainly not overloading them, that's for sure. In before we go and score a goal whilst we've got 10 men and not playing well. Finally, we won the ball. They are determined to sabotage me, I swear. You can see where the pass is going to go. Oh, my God. Nielsen's going to have to try and get out and cover here. There we go. Into the channel. Go on, Jacob. You've got 3 on 2. Just do something! Nielsen, up for Diamosa of all people. Søren Diamosa is the man on... Nothing I do makes any difference to what we do with set pieces. It is just that bad. That is the worst performance I've ever seen from this team. I'm glad we're only doing one game in today's video, because I'm not sure I'd be able to stay together for a full another 20 minutes of this. Plus, it's really hot in here again. Said it a few times already. The worst performance, probably, I think, I've ever seen, actually, on any FM I've ever played. I'm trying to think if I've ever had a team on an FM save play worse than they did in that game. I don't think I have. That is crazy. Well, a happy start to the new season. So we've lost a lot of key players with no real hope of replacing them. And now we've lost the first game of the season 4-0 at home. So that's good, I guess. Right, what we're going to do for the next video. Tell you what, these games look like they might be winnable. Maybe we could have a go at this one. We've got Nishping away next, which could potentially be winnable. Frem have just come down from the top tier, so maybe not. Then a cup game, chance to scrape a 1-0 win. And then Ventisl away as well. We've got a lot of away games coming up too. So, yeah, we'll do Nishping, Frem, and then Ventisl off camera. There might be another cup game in there, not sure. There might actually be a cup game in one of the live comps too. Then we'll come back for Freymad and Marienlyst. I guess things can only get better from here. I feel like we've hit rock bottom as far as my morale for this save has gone. But if we're going to keep playing like that, we might really, really struggle this year. And that leaves me wondering, what are we going to do to turn this around here? Because that was woeful. Really, really bad. So if you have enjoyed the video, and I mean that purely on the basis of entertainment value rather than quality of content in terms of the actual matches themselves, then do drop a like on the video. That would be really, really nice. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see more ludicrously bad Football Manager content from myself every single Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Pray for me. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.